All right guys, welcome back to the channel. I do have an update for you on this car. So unfortunately or fortunately, my other car over there, red, took a shit on me, and coincidentally it's right about the same time that I'm finally getting this car up and ready. So as of tomorrow, I'm going to start driving this car, and this is going to turn into my daily driver now. I still do have a couple things that I do need to get figured out with the car, and it's not completely finished yet, but as it sits right now, it is in drivable condition and we're gonna make it work. So in order to get this ready, there is a couple more things that I wanted to do. I just finished and I wrapped up the suspension on this car. Everything went pretty decent with that. I did take it for a little bit of a test drive the other day. Now, I didn't do a review for the suspension yet. I will give you guys a review of it and my thoughts on it. I did run into a little bit of an issue with one of my wheels in the rear. One of the wheels was too cambered in, so it was sticking kind of like this too much. So I actually just did it off camera, but I did jack the car up and I adjusted the camber bolts for the rear and I got them to an acceptable camber here. So this is not too bad where it's sitting right now. It's sitting at close to 2 degrees. It's about 1.5 degrees in the rear of negative camber. I did the same thing on the other side. The fronts are all set, they're good to go. The wheel gaps on these are pretty good. It's about a 2-finger gap all the way around. So everything's good with that. The last thing I wanted to do to kind of get this ready was I needed to fix the e-brake cable on this car. So even on a small slant, like such as my driveway up here, my e-brake is not able to hold. So if we go inside the car here and just pulling this up, there's not a whole lot of tension when you pull this up. It is very loose and it's not supposed to be loose. You should have some tension pulling this up. I don't really get a whole lot of tension until about up here, which it's almost maxed out at this point. So that tells me that the cable in here needs to be tightened up a little bit. It is possible that I could have issues with the rear calipers on the car. Now I did swap over brake pads, and sometimes when you do that, you will need to adjust your e-brake from inside the car. So I can already tell this does need to be tightened at the least. I'm pretty sure that that is going to help it. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video, is doing an adjustment on this. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this, and after that, this car is going to turn into the daily driver. So definitely looking forward to that. I still am going to be putting out some more videos for some things that I wanted to do on this car. So I will get those out, and I'm also waiting to find a couple more parts on this car for some stuff that I do need to fix. So stay tuned. We will get there sooner or later, and let's get started on this fix here. To start for this install, basically we're going to start over here and work our way over, removing all these dash pieces that need to come off. First, take this piece off over here. Just take a flathead screwdriver, pry it in between here, and you can wedge this piece right off. It's just a couple of clips that hold it on the back side. Next, that'll give us access to these two bolts right here. So you got one here and then one over here. These are either a 7mm or an 8mm. And then there's also one on the bottom side underneath. That last bolt that I was talking about, in addition to these two, is going to be right there. So there's going to be a last one. Remove those, and then we can drop this center piece down here. Once those are removed, we'll take it and then we'll just pull it, and it has a couple clips holding it. And we'll drop this down here. Next, we will remove the center piece right here. So this whole piece will have to come out. There's one bolt that we're going to start with right up here by the ignition switch. We will remove that. We'll come in here, pop this shifter piece up. You may need to get a flathead screwdriver just underneath in this gap right here in order to get this to pry up. So I'll do that here real quick. And I'm just going to take this and lift it right up just like this. Leave it like that. I don't need to worry about completely removing it. That is good as is. Then from here, basically this is just clips that holds on the rest of this. So what you can do is take one hand, place it over here into this pocket, place your other hand over here into this pocket, and basically just pull it straight to you. Just be careful with it because there are some connections on the back side of this. So I will get this removed here, kind of show you what it looks like doing it. Okay, just like so. So now we are off, and we'll see what we have back here that we can disconnect. We have, it's like 3 clips. So there's one up here on the top left. This one, just push this tab down, pull it back. And then we have this big one right here. Looks like we need to flip this blue tab up. So there's a little button on the back side of this one right here. You have to push this down, and then you can flip this blue tab piece up. Okay, just like so. And that flips all the way forward, then that'll pull right out. And then this last one right here, see if I can figure this one out. This white piece right here on the back, this is just a piece that you push in, and once you push that in, it'll release, and then you just pull it. So that's the spot that you want to pull right there. Then we'll just take the whole assembly here, carefully remove it from the center here. Don't want to damage anything, so get this out of here. Okay, so that completes everything else that we need to do. So now it's on to this main part right here, so that way we can get to our e-brake cable. We will need to take off this little trim piece right here, right next to the e-brake. So this, just get in here with a pry bar or a screwdriver, and this will just pop right out, just like that. Okay, so all right, this whole assembly comes out as one piece. So there is one bolt right here, and then another bolt right here. We'll get those two, and those are going to be the only 2 bolts that are holding it in the front. So we'll get, they're both 7 millimeters. Now we're going to come back to the rear of the car. And I did have to move the seat all the way forward to get access to this piece. So looking right down here at the center console piece, you'll have this little square, and there's a bolt that we need to get to under here. So just pry this up, and there's our bolt that we need. Same thing on the passenger side too as well. This is going to be a 10 millimeter bolt. So we'll get this out next here. After those 2 bolts were removed from the back, so you'll have those 2, and then the 2 that I took out up front. So that's everything that holds the center console piece into place. So now what we can do is take this from the rear and basically lift it straight up. You can see it lifts up just like that. So I'll just kind of lift this up to a spot where we can get to this. And you'll see right down here, that is going to be the e-brake cable right there. So this is what we're going to be tightening up. Looks like it's a 10 millimeter wrench, but I will confirm that, and I'll show you how to tighten it up here. I'm just going to hold this in place, kind of get it set on something so I can go get me a wrench and wrench it in. We are going to disengage the e-brake here, so we'll pull this down so that way we can take the tension off of it just a little bit. Doesn't need to go down all the way, but just like so. And we're going to come into the back seat here where we're going to have better access to it. All right, come right down in here. Pretty easy process. This is just going to be righty tighty and lefty loosey. So we're just going to be tightening this up a little bit. And it is noticeably loose on here too as well. After you do a couple turns, we're going to try this e-brake out. I'll tell you what you're looking for here when you do pull this up. So we're looking at the e-brake. I'm just getting it to the right adjustment. So right now it's all the way down and disengaged right now. So when you go to pull this up, you should not have tension on this immediately right away. It should be a little bit loose at first, and then you should feel it start to get quite a bit tighter after a couple clicks. So we'll start to pull this up, and so far it's pretty loose, and about on that fourth click is when I'm starting to getting tension. And if we go all the way the rest of the way up, it feels pretty good. There's tension throughout when we do that. So we'll disengage this again. Another way to look at this is when you have your assembly right down here. So this is what your assembly looks like, and with the e-brake engaged, you're going to notice these are going to start to go taut. And when we disengage this, so we'll push this all the way down. If I can get this all the way down. So with this e-brake all the way disengaged, you can see everything is nice and loose in here. You want to tighten this up to about right here, to where when you go to pull that cable for that e-brake, it's going to tension this up almost right away and engage your e-brake cable. As far as putting everything back together, it's just going to be reverse process. So we'll put in our bolts up here and our bolts back here, and then we'll get our all of our other trim pieces back on and bolted together. So just repeat the process of the disassembly and you'll be fine. Let's give this e-brake a pull now and get a feel for it, see what it's like. So let's release it and we'll tighten it. Feels much better. I'm getting tension. Right after about 3 clicks, I'm starting to get tension. So we have this much room. We got 3 clicks of room right here that basically engages it. And then after that 3, it finally starts to hook up, and this is when the e-brake is starting to apply. So now we got good tension here all the way up. So that feels pretty good. I'm happy with that, and I'm confident that that should be able to hold us on somewhat of a decent hill. One of the other things I noticed on this car while working on it regarding the e-brake, and I'm going to put this in the same video as my e-brake, because after I made that adjustment to the e-brake cable, the cable itself, the e-brake, had a better feel to it, but the car was still not quite holding when it was on a hill. And I found the reason kind of why. So the e-brake is currently on right now, car is parked, and I have just this driver's side jacked up, and the e-brake is on. So with this on, you should not be able to turn this wheel. And when we go to turn it, with almost no effort at all, clearly this e-brake is not holding, and it's just an issue on this side. The other side is holding. And also additionally, I didn't point this out, but if you go back and you look at the e-brake cables from where I adjusted them inside the cab of the car with that 10mm wrench, you'll notice one of the cables is a little bit longer than the other one. And when you look at that, that actually tells you, that's actually telling you something right there. That's telling you that one of the e-brake cables released and the other one did not, because they should both be very similar in length. And if they're not, well, then that should raise a red flag right here. What we're gonna do is we'll take this wheel off and we're gonna inspect this caliper and try to see what's going on, and hopefully break this loose so that way we can get some tension on this wheel with that e-brake. The area that I'm specifically talking about in here, this is the e-brake cable that comes down, and it goes to the back side of your caliper right here. And on the back side of this, it's actually a little spring back here that's supposed to basically kick this release back when you disengage it. So this arm right here goes up and down. You can see there's a little spot right here. This is how far this goes down. This is kind of the stopping point, and this is supposed to release and go back with your e-brake lever. I just sprayed this down before I go ahead and hit this with the hammer. I am going to release the e-brake from inside of the car. What this is going to do is basically give the car as much cable as possible which is going to allow this to move back and forth. So let's do that here first. And we'll see if we can get this to break free at all. So already that arm is starting to move and it's almost bottomed out compared to where it was before. So now we'll just hit it back up. And it is moving pretty freely. Hopefully this will be enough that'll allow it to fully break loose when we actually do use our e-brake cable. So we'll do this, work it in a little bit, and then we're gonna go inside the car and use the actual e-brake to pull that up and down. And you should see this move up and down with that e-brake. I just tried playing with the e-brake cable inside the car, and this is not working properly. I'm not able to get this to break loose. I can either rebuild this caliper. I'm gonna have to break it open if I do want to fix this one way or another, or I could replace it with a different one. I'm probably gonna end up breaking it open. It's just not gonna happen right now. As far as our attempted fix at the e-brake goes, that is a couple of different things to check when you are trying to fix your e-brake. Other than that, that's gonna be a wrap for this video. Stay tuned for the next one.